Hello, everybody. I'm hoping this isn't too blinding here. I was hoping you'd get to see the beautiful mountains behind me, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe if it were later in the day or the sun was in a different spot. But anyway, I am sorry for the delay. Things happen, and that is just the way it goes. But it's okay, because sometimes it works out really well, because then it gives you all time to get here. And yeah, you guys let me know if it's awful, and I'll move. I had to get ice for my knee. I tweaked my knee, so I had to get ice before I sat down. But yeah, so here we are. It's Thursday, my normal Thursday talks, and today, woohoo! I got lots of information for you today, because today we are talking about hormone therapy, menopause hormone therapy, most widely known as hormone replacement therapy, which they are really working to change it and call it hormone therapy or menopause hormone therapy. Because again, there's this idea that, what's the idea? The idea is that we're not replacing the thyroid, the hormones per se. It's optimizing, right? I think is what the terminology was. So, yeah. So there's a lot to unpack here. Let me just see here. Sorry, I thought I had an issue. I wanted to go back here and find it. Okay. Anyway. Let me find my notes. I'm just going to jump on in here, and we're going to get going here, because why not? You're here, your time is valuable, and my time is valuable. We all got it. All right. So this is probably one of the most confusing, most misunderstood, most emotional topics, right, around menopause. People have very strong opinions one way or the other for the most part. And honestly, I feel like the way it's being discussed in some circles, in some places, it's doing you a disservice as opposed to a service, right? You're either told you must take it to age well, right? Or you're going to get I've seen everything from you're going to get heart disease, you're going to get Alzheimer's, and your bones are going to be brittle, or it's a cancer risk and you're going to get cancer, and you should never take it. So I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, here we go, all over the place. I'm just pulling the group up, so you guys, as you come in, if you have questions, please go ahead and ask them, and if I don't answer them in real time, I will come back and answer them at the end. So just a reminder. Okay, so what I want to do today, what my plan is, and this is whenever I do these live talks, is I want to give you the real facts, the real information, and I want to have a real conversation about it. I myself, as a coach, as a woman, as a human being, I am not anti-hormone therapy. I'm not pro-hormone therapy. Right? It doesn't apply for me, and I think it's a very individual decision. And for me, I am pro-information. So today isn't about talking you into anything or out of anything, okay? It's about giving you the facts so that you can make an empowered, informed decision for yourself. Because you might have to be the more informed one in the room when it comes to a conversation with your doctor. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But if you are in your 40s or your 50s and your periods started changing, or maybe you're in postmenopause, right? You're exhausted, but you're feeling wired. You're gaining weight, even though you're doing the same things that you used to do. You're moody, you're anxious, you're uncomfortable in your body. You ask for help, and maybe you're told you just have to deal with it. Maybe you're told come back when you've gone a year without a period. Maybe you're told that this is just what happens, right? or you're handed an antidepressant, or you're dismissed entirely. So before you decide anything, here's what you deserve to know, right? The different parts of menopause, right? Now and I do it myself, we have a tendency to lump the whole transition of menopause in as one. Now, but there are different stages of menopause, right? There is perimenopause. So that is if you have not gone one consecutive year without a period. And this for many people can last 3, 5, 7, 8, 12 years, right? So a lot of women, as knowledge has become more out in the open, myself included, realize perimenopause started way earlier than they realized. We just didn't have a word to put to it. We didn't know that that's what was happening, right? And this is when the hormones are fluctuating the most. And this is when the symptoms can be all over the place. They can come and go. You can feel like you're going to have a period, have all the symptoms, and then not have a period. You can go 11 months, 15 days without a period, and then have a period again, and the clock starts all over again. Perimenopause is until you go a consecutive 12 months without a period. Now, menopause, the part of menopause called actually menopause is one day. When you've gone 12 months without a period, that one day, that anniversary on the 12th month is when you are in menopause. Okay? So when people say I'm in full-blown menopause, I always ask, well, what do you mean by that? Because there really isn't a full-blown menopause, right? There is the transition of menopause, and then there is perimenopause, then there is the day of menopause, and then it's post-menopause. And post-menopause is where you stay for the rest of your life. Now, myself, I'm like 13, 14 years post-menopause. And we are considered post-menopausal for the rest of our lives. Why? Because our hormones never go back to what they were. So that is part of why we have that label. And a lot of people don't like the label. I don't find it doesn't bother me at all. I don't find it offensive. I am proud to say I am postmenopausal. Had I known what I know now, I probably would have been happy. I don't know. Actually, I wouldn't have been. Back then, I was way too insecure to have announced I was perimenopausal. You guys, this is my ginger lemon water kefir. My probiotic drink I make. So good. Okay. So, as far as starting to get treatment, as far as hormones go, not birth control, not going to go into that here, but that is not the same as hormone therapy. Even though it is hormones, those are generally synthetic hormones, and there's actually, the dosages are quite different in that. I mean, it's designed to do something different than estrogen therapy, than hormone therapy, excuse me. But misconception number one is that you have to wait until you stop bleeding to start HRT, right? Symptoms guide your decisions, not the calendar. And if your doctor, like this just happened to my client who I'm supporting through this decision, I sent her a bunch of different information on hormone therapy. She's, I think, right now at about 3 months of skipping her period, besides skipping a couple before. And, hey, Shelly. And she called her doctor. You know, I sent her a ton of information because I want her to be able to make an informed choice about this. I'm not pro, I'm not anti. I'm here to support her through the decision she wants to make. Her nurse practitioner was like, oh, talk to me when you've gone 12 months without a period. So that is outdated protocol, which is really part of the problem that women are running into all over the place. The doctors do not know the most current protocols, and we're going to talk about that. Before we get there, so this comes up from everybody a lot of the time, especially when it comes to wanting to potentially go on hormone therapy. Testing. Now, we have been in this society, we want a test to tell us, right? We want that. We do. And doctors have trained us kind of to expect that. There is no definitive test for perimenopause. Okay? So, hormone levels, fluctuate too much. So you could get blood work tested on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock and then go back Wednesday at 9 a.m. and your estrogen and progesterone could be in completely different places. So many women will push to get these tests. And the doctor's like, yeah, you're normal. That's not how it's diagnosed. And the reason I want you to hear this is because you might have to be, as I've already said, you might have to be the more informed person in the room. Now, whether or not your doctor is going to be open to hearing it, I do not know the answer there. But if they're not willing to go do their own research, then that might be an indicator you might want to look everywhere else. But Dutch testing, at-home FSH kits are not reliable for guiding hormone therapy decisions. Perimenopause is what's considered a clinical diagnosis based on symptoms, not lab results. Okay. Now, let's go back and we have to talk about something that was brought to light, I think it was last year, but something that goes way back to 2002. There was a Women's Health Initiative study that followed women, mostly postmenopausal, by many years. And they followed them on their hormone therapy journey, some with progesterone, some with synthetic progestin, some without. Not the same hormones that are considered the gold standard now. They used Premarin, which was a conjugated estrogen that was made from pregnant horses' urine because it was a similar makeup, right? But again, most of these women, the average age was 63 in this study. But when they announced without, it was not even handled in the right way. Like, it didn't go through the proper channels but all of a sudden they just made this huge announcement that that the therapies was causing breast cancer and higher risk of cardiovascular. I mean, there was all this, so this fear, and like overnight, 80% of women went off hormone therapy and doctors stopped prescribing it. Now, later analysis has found that it's not quite as what it appeared, right? We're looking at different, what's the word I'm looking for? Vehicles of how we're receiving it in our body. And there was potentially higher levels of estrogen-only therapy that reduce breast cancer risk, right? So progesterone is the one when it was more in the synthetics that caused extra cases per 10,000 women per year, but it was made out like it was this huge thing. So, sorry. The timing of hormone therapy matters a lot. So those women who are interested in looking at it, you want to do it within 10 years of you going from your day of menopause into postmenopause, right? That's when it is the most effective. That is when you get your benefit. Okay. I don't know what it is. I have full bars here. I was just looking while I was waiting for coming back to it on that. We'll go back to your thyroid. Some tests on it, they told me, are you still having periods, Suze? Suze, when people look into hormone replacement therapies for a couple different reasons, to reduce symptoms and potentially to do some preventative for the future. And that is still up for grabs, but in certain cases, we're going to talk about that. So what hormone therapy basically does, Suze, is it brings the levels of hormones that you have now up to a higher level, closer, and in some cases equal to what they might have been prior to perimenopause. So if you have gone 12 months, I don't know if you were here for that part, Suze, if you've gone 12 months without a period, you are postmenopausal. If you've had a hysterectomy, it does get a little bit harder to figure that out. But, okay, so the timing of matters, the type of hormones matter. Okay, so let's talk about the types of hormone replacement therapy and what bioidentical actually means. So there's patches, there's pills, there's gels, there's spray, there's cream, there's pellets. Okay? Now, bioidentical simply means chemically identical hormones. It does not mean it's natural. It was still produced in a laboratory, and it is not considered automatically safer. Okay? Okay, I don't know what is going on. Okay, bioidentical is not necessarily considered safer. It just means that the chemical makeup is identical to your natural hormones. Sorry about the freezing, I don't know what it is. Many FDA-approved prescriptions like estradiol patches and prometrium are bioidentical. You do not need expensive compounded hormones that are not FDA approved that you have to go to some compounding pharmacy to get. And that's where I think this water gets a little murky when it comes to bioidentical. And I do think there are a lot of women that think when they take it, it is a natural thing. It might start from something natural, but that does not mean it is. I mean, and I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying this so that you know what you're taking. You are still taking something created in a laboratory. Let's be real, okay? And that's not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Let's just say that's what it is, okay? Now, the gold standard protocol right now is combination, right? It's transdermal estradiol, so that means it goes into the skin. So that's patch or gel or spray. And then micronized progesterone, which is prometrium, right? If you have had a hysterectomy, you are not always prescribed progesterone. Estrogen would be generally what would be prescribed first. Progesterone is what stops the thickening of the lining of your uterus. So that is something we do want to protect against endometrial cancer, endometriosis, all of that stuff, right? This approach is considered the safest, the most studied, and the most well tolerated for most women. Okay. Starting doses, right? You don't need labs for starting dose. 99% of women are started on the lowest dose. You go for a certain amount of time. Most doctors are probably going to tell you 6 to 12 weeks. Then they check in again and see where you're at. HRT for most women is not an overnight shift. For some women, it can take up to 3 months to actually feel a difference, to make a decision if it helps you or not, or to look at upping your dosage. Okay? Some women do have more effects quicker. This is the hard part. I wish I could tell you that if you took this is how you would feel. Every single woman is unique. There are no two experiences that are exactly the same. So there is no way of knowing for you what your experience will be. You will have to go into it like, okay, let's figure this out. Now, what does HRT, hormone therapy, MHT, whatever we want to call it, clearly help with? Hot flashes, night sweats. These are your vasomotor symptoms. Vaginal dryness and preserving bone density. Those are proven. Could it help you with sleep? Maybe, because progesterone can be kind of like your kind of sleepy, you're happy, your mellowy type hormone. Where research is still evolving is on heart health. Early hormone therapy may lower the heart disease risk, but it is not guaranteed at this point. Brain health. Early HRT may support cognition, but it does not prevent dementia. And there's an amazing doctor, actually, I just ordered her book, Dr. Lisa Mosconi. What is it called? Estrogen Matters? I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I ordered it from Amazon yesterday. But anyway, her study is all on estrogen receptors in the brain and estrogen. It's promising that it could help, but it's not definite. Okay? What HRT doesn't fix: gut health issues, blood sugar problems, high cortisol and chronic stress. It is not indicated for weight loss or weight gain. Okay? Now, at least not in a direct fashion. Do some people get bloated when they first start taking it? They do. But bloating is not the same as weight gain, right? Let's be very clear there. Can it indirectly help with weight loss? Maybe. If one of your issues is sleep, and lack of sleep can cause you to plateau weight loss. If it helps you with sleep, it could indirectly then help you with weight loss, but it is not prescribed as a weight loss medication, right? It is not that. Okay. Where else was I? Okay. Vaginal estrogen. This is local, not systemic, right? So, which means it stays in the area you put it in. This is to help with dryness, urinary symptoms, anything in that area. It does not significantly raise systemic estrogen levels, carries an extremely low cancer risk, right? So even somebody, and I think do I have that in here? Okay, I can't remember now if I put it in here or not. I think having breast cancer in your family does not automatically eliminate you from the conversation of hormone therapy. So that is definitely, it's a case-by-case basis. So you will want to have conversations with your doctor. If you are in perimenopause and you are struggling with symptoms, the recommendation is, and you're on birth control, that you talk to your doctor about getting off birth control and getting onto hormone replacement therapy. But then you will need some form of birth control, because don't forget, in perimenopause, you can still get pregnant. Okay. So just to throw in here, supporting your body even with and beyond hormone therapy, right? Weight-bearing exercises, blood sugar stability for the heart and brain, strength training for metabolism, stress management for cortisol regulation, right? You have to, again, look at this. And one of the reasons that I do get a little down on hormone therapy is because there is a conversation out there that makes women think it's a magic fix. Like, I have anxiety, I have weight gain, I can't sleep, I have no motivation, I'm stressed, I'll take HRT and all my problems will go away. And that is not the case. And I feel just as strongly about people who think supplements are going to do the same thing. It's the problem. We're being sold that this is a solution, and it is not. You still have to learn to work with the body you have now. Okay? And again, back on vaginal estrogen, I'm bouncing around in my own notes here. It's a different tool, different conversation than hormone therapy. I already mentioned this, individuality of response. Some feel better in days, some take months, some need dose changes. You've got to commit to at least 90 days. Now, here's another thing that I think is problematic when it comes to the discussion of hormone therapy. And I see this in quite a few groups I'm in that are very hormone therapy focused. There are women who are trying to adjust their dosages constantly for every symptom. And I would love for you to think about it in this respect. Hormone therapy isn't meant to erase the fact that you're going through menopause. It is meant to ease the transition, but it's not meant to override nature. This is not a disease we're trying to cure. This is a natural transition our body goes through, right? So every breakthrough symptom doesn't mean that a different dosage. They're like, well, what does this mean? Do I need more estrogen? Do I need more progesterone? How about if you also look at what you're doing every day? Because that still has a huge impact. All the things I talk about here in this group, every single one of them applies to a woman who is on HRT or who is not on HRT. All the same things apply. You still need to fuel your body in the way it needs. You need to eat a lot of plants, a lot of fiber for your gut health, for your hormones, for your metabolism, for everything, right? You need to be eating lean protein, healthy fats, good complex carbohydrates, strength training, working on your sleep, working on your stress, all of that. It doesn't matter whether or not you're taking a prescription hormone therapy or not. And just to be clear on that, If you do not need a prescription for it, you are not getting full strength estradiol or progesterone, right? Wild yam cream, everybody's out there. Wild yam cream 99% of the time doesn't even have any progesterone in it, right? There is a compound in wild yams, it's called like disogen, that in the laboratory they convert and they can make progesterone from, but your body can't convert it. There's no evidence your body can convert it on your own. So be very careful. I've seen it on Amazon. It says estrogen, and it was like a spray, or maybe it was a roll-on or something, right? And when you look closer, it says phytoestrogen. Phyto means plant, and that means they're taking the phytoestrogens that exist in lots of vegetables that I talk about all the time that can be helpful for menopause symptoms, and that's what they're giving you, but they sell it to you like you think you're buying estrogen. You cannot buy over-the-counter prescription strength estradiol or progesterone, prometheum, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So again, and the goal isn't that you're never going to have a hot flash again. It's not that you're never going to experience vaginal dryness again. The goal is to minimize those. That's it, you guys. And then here's the other part that will cause such a big issue with hormone replacement therapy is if you're not managing your stress, high levels of cortisol. If your cortisol is high, if you're sleep deprived, if you're burning out, HRT is not going to be nearly as effective as you want it to be, and it will not fix it. Hormone therapy works the best when your body is also supported with daily practices, like the things I talk about. Now, there's also some issues. A lot of women don't tolerate progesterone well, right? So you might have to lower the dose. You might have to use rectal or vaginal progesterone, right? Doesn't mean you can't take it, but like these are the things you have to know going into it. Oh yeah, I did talk about that, right? My client being completely shut down and dismissed. Outdated advice. And I would love for you to tell your doctors that it is outdated, right? That is not. And they can go look up the menopausesociety.org, which is our governing body here in the U.S. on menopause. And their position statement talks about what their take is on all of it. Okay. Breast cancer, I did that. It's a case-by-case decision. Same thing if you are 10 years post-menopause. So me, if I so chose, I'm 13, almost 14 years post-menopause, could I go to the doctor and say, I never took it, it's been this long, I want to try it? And if I have a good doctor, my doctor might say, well, we got to outweigh, we want the benefits to outweigh the risks based on your age and where you're at. And how, what's the severity of your symptoms? Because a lot of it has to do with the estrogen receptors. And this is Dr. Lisa Mosconi's work. After like 10 years, your estrogen receptors in your brain have shut down. So it's not even going to be helpful on that. And I could be that might not be the perfect terminology there on what she talks about, but that was a big piece of why the timing matters so much. Now, here's the other problem that I see is that I started off talking about this. A lot of women are telling other women that basically their quality of life will suck if they don't take HRT. And that is not the case. And I am living proof of it right here. It is a personal choice. You're not good or bad or right or wrong for whatever decision works for you as a person. It's not for me to tell you what to do. Even my client, I'm not telling her. I am giving out her the information and I am supporting her through her decision. Whichever way she goes, I am here to support her and I have the knowledge to support her in both aspects of it. And what I help her do is I help her get down to her own thoughts about it. Okay. We're still diving into that. But anyway, this was as of 2023. That was the last numbers. I haven't done 2024s yet. Over 95% of women are managing menopause without hormone therapy. Many are thriving. They're not broken. They're not frail. They're not declining. right? You have options, you have agency, and you have authority over your own damn body. So don't let your doctor, don't let anybody bully you into making a decision that you don't feel good about. Your decision is yours. You have to like your reasons. Only you. No one gets to make that decision. And if you don't get what you need from your doctor, there's MIDI, there's Alloy. There are so many different telehealth options now. I want you to have the facts and not fear and no pressure, but feeling like you're making this decision out of empowerment, ladies. This is our time to kick some butt, whether we take HRT or not, right? We stop giving, there's a lot of memes out there that say, I don't have any more F's to give, now that I'm in menopause. And for a lot of us, we do start to change our perception, our worry about what others think and say and do has a tendency to decline. Our filter kind of shuts down a little bit, right? HRT doesn't stop any of that. And we say more, we have less tolerance. And that is awesome. But how are you going to feel if you're like stepping into all that and then you feel bullied into making a decision about your own damn body? That's what I don't want for you. And I don't want you to feel like you have to do what your doctor, sorry, I get so worked up here. What your doctor says, right? This is not his decision. Unless you have an extensive history of blood clots and cancer, right? This is your decision, not his. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. So that's what I got for you today. I hope that was helpful. I'm going to look at Suze's questions here. Closer to 2 years. So, Suze, that's what I was saying. There is no test. If you've gone over a year without a period, you are postmenopausal. That is how it's diagnosed. Now, being postmenopausal 2 years, could your numbers be testing low? They could be, but for a lot of women, it can take, your hormones are still fluctuating postmenopause. So your levels won't necessarily read postmenopausal for some women up to 5 years postmenopausal. You don't need a test. That's what we started off with. This is where our brain goes, right? We don't, yeah. So let me see what else. Okay, so you haven't had thyroid medicine. So I'll tell you, so I just went back on my thyroid medicine not too long ago, and it makes a huge difference in how you feel. I mean, thyroid is a hormone. Thyroid medication, I don't even know if you're still here with me, Suze. When we take thyroid, it's different than estrogen therapy, right? Our thyroid is not operating the way it's supposed to be, right? That is when we need thyroid medicine, right? Either it's not making enough or it's making too much, right? Hypothyroid is what's considered underactive thyroid. Hyper is when it's overactive. For me, I hypo, and mine did coincide with perimenopause, and it does for a lot of women, which is why there was part of me when I was struggling and I was trying to make the decision of what to do and how I could make it work. I was like, well, maybe it was just part of perimenopause. Maybe it was really more perimenopause than it was hypothyroidism. But so I've never heard of not getting into labs quick. I can go down, I can buy labs online and go to my closest lab in like 24 hours. So I might look into that if I were you, because if you are trying to lose weight, if you are looking for extra energy, having an underactive thyroid plays a big part in both of those. And here's what, if you saw the post I put in the other day, yeah, just because we get on the medication doesn't mean your thyroid will start be working towards operating efficiently, but it doesn't make you lose weight. You still got to go through all the steps, right? Calorie deficit and working on stress and sleep and all the things. But when we replace our thyroid hormone, it's because there is, and I don't want to use this word necessarily, but there is a defect with how our thyroid is operating. It's not the same thing as a decline in our thyroid hormones because we're getting older. Something around there isn't working properly. And that's why we take those hormones. So that's what I got for you there. So yeah, mine was underactive. But she was mostly, I think, trying to combat any type of weight loss or hormone. Well, if your thyroid was underactive, why would you not think that would need to be addressed? I mean, there are ranges within normal that some doctors will go by, but I will tell you, if I went by normal, I would not feel as good as I know I feel now. This was my first doctor who actually, we went up my dose. I had to drop it down a little bit because I was having some joint issues, which excessive thyroid hormone can cause that. But so she operated under optimal as opposed to normal. So yeah. Yeah, see, that's what yes, like you're talking about Quest or any of those. Um, Yeah, I would if I were you, because you want to know if there's any underlying issues going on, especially as we're aging, and if you're not feeling up to par, looking at things like thyroid and iron and all of that before deciding that hormone therapy is the way to go, if you're trying to do hormone therapy because you're low energy, right? And that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I think you just want to have all your ducks in a row. You want to know all the stuff. So if your iron is low, if your thyroid is low, those are things that can present like a lot of menopause symptoms. So I think that's where it's an important piece to kind of have dialed in. And again, I'm very well versed in this because I've just gone through it. I mean, I went a year without my medication, which was way longer than I wanted to. And I won't do it again, I'll tell you that. Nope, I won't. So, anyway, I hope this was helpful. I know this went a little long, but I knew it would because this is a big topic. I don't consider HRT to be my area of expertise, but I am very knowledgeable and I do a lot of research on it because I want to be able to answer my clients in the most informed way. And I want to be able to give all of you the information you deserve, right? So that you go into your doctor knowing what you might want to do. And if he doesn't agree, she doesn't agree, you can say then, okay, see ya. I'm going to find the doctor that will, because I know that this is the gold standard if I want hormone therapy. It is a transdermal application. That was the word I was looking for, application. As opposed to oral and then micronized progesterone, right? I know that that's what it is. And if I want it as a woman, you get to have it. It is not up to your doctor. I mean, unless you have zero symptoms, I guess I could see him wanting to. But there are women taking it preventatively. But you just have to be very clear with yourself that a lot of what's talked about is still being studied. So whether or not those benefits really exist, we do not know 100% yet. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. Yeah, I hope it was. So I will see you all later. If you have questions, reach out, send me a message, leave a comment here, whatever. I'm here for you. You know it. All right.